Setting good boundaries.
This comes from Dr. Tracy Marks, who's a clinical psychiatrist, and she talks about 5 ways that you can determine that you have poor boundaries and what to do about it. The first sign is that you are someone who overcommits or people pleases. You get asked to do something, you say yes by default without actually considering whether you want to do it, whether you have time to do it, whether you have energy to do it. So you're yes, 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 okay? Or you're willing to bulldoze yourself in order to make other people happy, okay? So people typically know when they have a tendency to do this because it's all over their lives. We talked about this before, like you're committing to this and committing to that, and then all of a sudden you're showing up in a way that like you're letting other people down, which is horrible for a people pleaser.
Right.
So they'll exhaust themselves. Now, Dr. Tracy says that we all have a narrative identity. So this is a story that we tell about ourselves to ourselves, about the past, present, and future that jives with our values, okay? So your narrative identity might be that it's really selfish to say no when you have the ability to say yes. And I'm not a selfish person. I'm actually a really giving person. And so because I'm a giving person, if someone asks me to do something and I have the skills to do it, I should say yes.
Amen.
Right. Okay.
That's my narrative.
Okay.
Right.
So if you're aware of that, that's really important, first of all, again, to become aware of it. Okay. Because what you're going to want to do in private is you're going to write a list of your wants, needs, and values. Okay. So you can actually identify for yourself where your true north is. So you need to be able to remind yourself about this whenever someone asks you to do something. First of all, we've talked about this before, giving yourself a little bit of space to consider it. Because if you have an impulse, if you compulsively say yes and you know that about yourself, then what you can start to do is go, let me think about that real quick. Let me check my calendar. Let me talk to my spouse. Let me look at my appointments really quickly for the week, and I'll get back to you by this time. Now you've given yourself a buffer, right?
It's funny you say that because I've learned how to do that.
Perfect. Exactly.
I'll have my people get back with your people.
There you go. Exactly.
But I have been doing that. Give me a couple of days and let me get back. I used to go, yeah. Oh, we need a donation. Yeah.
Yes.
Now I go, well, let me think about it. Tell me what it's about. Let me absorb it.
It's really important that you do that because because you may want to. And when I talk to people, my clients will say to me, I legitimately want to do all of it. When someone asks me to do something, there's a part of me that really actually wants to be there for them. But of course, they're one person with their own set of responsibilities. They have families, work. So they literally cannot be there for everybody at the same time. And of course, when you're a people pleaser, what tends to happen is that people who like to leverage your yeses, they'll actually come to you quite a lot, right? They already know you're going to be the one. Right. So you need to be able to identify for yourself, like, what is it actually important to me so that you can actually remind yourself that a no to them in certain circumstances is a yes to what's important to you. And then you want to practice. Now, setting boundaries is an iterative process, okay? It's not like you're going to be really great at it all at one time. It's sort of like these little steps that you take and you adjust along the way. So you want to practice saying no in low stakes situations where there's less impact to you. Someone asks you to do something, you fully well could do it, but you prefer not to do it, say no. Give yourself the confidence that nothing bad will happen if I say no. In fact, I'll have more energy to devote to the things that are actually important to me, okay? Number 2, feeling responsible for other people's emotions. Now, a lot of people that I work with have an empathetic sort of thing on. So someone's really upset in front of them or someone has a strong personality, they absorb the energy of the other person. So if someone's distressed about something and they are absorbing their own distress, even though they may not prefer to actually want to participate in something or do something, they feel compelled to do it so that they can actually relieve themselves of this feeling that they're borrowing from someone else.
Relieve themselves of the poison.
Yes, exactly. So what's really important is to actually start to practice distinguishing between how someone feels in front of you and how you actually feel. So actually tease those things apart. Say, okay, this is their feeling, there's emotion. How do I actually feel? And remember in those moments, you need to remind yourself that you are not responsible for other people's feelings. We learn this, a lot of us, when we're very young, that we have to be responsible for the way that other people feel or we're not going to be okay. And that's an adaptive thing for a child. But as an adult, when you're continuing to do that compulsively and it's not working for you, it now becomes your responsibility to course correct that because you're not having that over responsibility of taking on other people's experiences as your own is exhaustive. It will deplete you out of everything that you need to actually run your own life and be happy in your own life.